They're prima donnas. We're going to hit them in the mouth as hard as we can, and then we're going to see how they're going to react.
If cell phones were like a big thing, I'd call all my buddies right now.
Right, yeah.
Hey, man.
Why do you want to turn me into a fetch?
What's up, Falcons fans, and welcome back to the Friday Five. I'm your host, Will McFadden. Tori McElhaney is going to be doing most of today's episode. She is not here with me in studio right now. She was out this week on a well-deserved vacation, but we have three amazing interviews with some Falcons legends lined up. So Tori is going to be talking with Jessie Tuggle, Mike Kenn, and Justin Blalock. And they're just fabulous conversations about where the Falcons are, where the Falcons have been, these guys' careers, things like that. So that is what we have for the bulk of today's episode. The Falcons did wrap up their mandatory minicamp on Wednesday. We have all of the coverage you need from that on AtlantaFalcons.com. I wrote a couple of practice reports. We've got highlights, press conferences, anything you need to catch up on the team as they take a little bit of a break ahead of training camp. Go find it there. And we also have our training camp dates. They've been announced, so go head over to the website. Make sure you claim your tickets for one of the 10 open dates to come see the Atlanta Falcons practice during training camp. So before we get into Tori's interviews, I just want to remind you that at the end of today's episode, we will have a Know Your Foe segment. I will be running down everything on the Chicago Bears, one of the surprise teams of the 2025 season. We'll see how they have changed this offseason, and then maybe a very early idea of how they will stack up with the Atlanta Falcons. So that is what we have on tap for you today. Let's go ahead and get into Tori McElhaney's interview with, who else? Jessie Tuggle. Let's go.
I am so excited. Jessie Tuggle is here in the building. Pumped right now. We are joined. You are one of the toughest and most respected players to have ever worn the red and black. And you're known as the Hammer, which is one of the best. We just had Michael Turner in here, the burner, now the Hammer.
Absolutely.
But I felt like you were the heart of Atlanta's defense over a decade. You earned multiple Pro Bowls, becoming one of the greatest linebackers in franchise history. We're going to be talking today about, those legendary defenses that you were on, that Super Bowl run, what Falcons football means to you, and just your thoughts on the game today. So, Jessie Tuggle, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It is so nice to be here and to go through all of my accolades like you just did. It means a lot to me because the years went by fast, and I feel like I accomplished a lot, but when you look back, it means more to me now because I'm older, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just good to be back in the Atlanta Falcon building, actually.
So fun. Okay, so let's start with the biggest year. Let's start with 1998. That Super Bowl run. I was going back through as I was prepping for this interview, and I knew, I was born in 96. Right. So, everything I know about that 98 season, I've kind of, learned from being around the organization. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize until recently how just, crazy good that defense was. Ranked second in the league for fewest rushing yards allowed.
Yep.
8th for fewest total yards allowed. 4th with fewest points allowed. This was a lockdown defense. What do you think, when you look back at that time, what do you think led to the success of that unit?
I think that year we started off, I think 2-0, and then we lost one out in San Francisco. Then we came back. We got on a run. Mm-hmm. I mean, we was like a riot. We just kept winning game after game after game. It started snowballing. So at one point, I think it was 9-1, and then people started looking around and say, wait a minute, this team might be for real. Mm-hmm. And I think our next loss came up in New York, and from that point, we didn't lose again. Mm-hmm. So we finished the season at 14-2. Myself and guys like Chuck Smith, Bob Whitfield, although he was the offensive player, guys like that, the veteran player really stood out a little bit more in team meetings. We talked about the possibility that, hey, I told guys, hey, listen, it might not be the most talented team that I played on when we had Andre Rison, when we had Deion Sanders. But I'll tell you what, this team plays together. This is a true team atmosphere, and everybody produced. And I felt like I was the leader of that team in 1998, and it was a dream come true season for me.
Yeah. So it was really interesting because when Matt Ryan came back and he talked to the rookies kind of as a president of football, talked to the team as the president of football, he talked a lot about his own Super Bowl run. Mm-hmm. And he talked about how alive the city became and how much it felt like there was such a camaraderie between the city and the fan base and the team, and everybody was in lockstep. What do you remember about your own run and how the city was connected to the team?
The city actually supported us. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I think later in the season, when we got into some deep playoff games, it was just amazing because I grew up here in Atlanta, and I've been on a lot of teams that lost a lot of games.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was incredible. The city had lit up. Even from my hometown, always down from Griffin, Georgia, all the way to Atlanta. Everywhere I would go, people talked about the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I heard a fan tell me there was two things I thought I would never say in my lifetime together. Was the Atlanta Falcon and Super Bowl. It felt like it didn't go together. But obviously, it made a big difference for so many fan base that had been long-term Falcon fans. And it was such an incredible year that when I look back at all the games I played in my whole career, out of 14 seasons, is that 1998 season stand out. It's something about winning. It's something about bringing a team close together, amongst each other's. Believing in the coaches, our family supporting us, but more so than that, the city.
Yeah.
The city got behind us, and they stood right there, and they braced us, and we went on a tear. And unfortunately, we did not win the Super Bowl, but to get there, it was a fight in Minnesota. And it was an incredible day up there when we won the NFC championship, and it was an awesome time. So it was a time in my life that I think at the time I was 33 years old, and it was incredible. It was an incredible run, incredible journey, and I loved every minute of it.
Yeah. So when you look back on that year, I know everybody, remembers the NFC Championship, the Minnesota game, and that being kind of the highlight. But is there another game on that run that y'all made that you really remember being like, oh, yeah, that was awesome?
There was a lot of great games in the playoffs. I think the game where we beat the 49ers in the playoffs. And the 49ers was the toughest team, I think on our roster, year in and year out for years. Running their West Coast offensive style, they were so hard to defend as a linebacker. I think they gave me mentally unsleepless nights thinking about them because I got to stop them. I want to have my best games against them. So I think when we beat them back-to-back in the regular season and beat them in the playoffs, that lifted us up to the point where, okay, guys, this is our year. We can do something special here. And going up to Minnesota, obviously, when no one thought we could do it, except for our fan base. And at that point, we knew just make the game close, and we can win this thing. Oh. And I can remember talking to Chuck Smith, and he made an incredible play in the game that actually helped turn the whole game around before halftime. And it was just a awesome feeling, being in a city where no one really cared about us up there in Minneapolis, but the fan base here in Atlanta was watching.
Oh yeah.
And we had about 200 fans that came to the game.
Yeah.
Who was in the top row that we could hear you guys. So it was incredible.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love it. You made it. I want to pull on this thread a little bit where you're talking about how playing San Francisco really challenged you as a linebacker. I think that it's really interesting the evolution of the linebacker position since your playing days to where we are now, and kind of this move towards, you have offenses and developing and kind of really going towards these spread offenses, and you need linebackers that can do a little bit of everything.
Yes, for sure.
How do you feel like from your playing days to where we are now, the linebacker position has evolved?
It has changed a lot. Early in the 80s when I came in, the late 80s, early 90s, it was a run-based offensive scheme around the league. So you played teams that ran counters, lead power runs. Our goal was to stop the run, no matter at all costs.
And y'all did it.
And we did it.
Second in the league in fewest rushing yards allowed.
Oh, my God. Listen, I look back at my career. I had over 2,000 tackles in my career, and I got a lot of them because they ran the ball all the time.
Yeah.
But now it's more of a passing game, finesse game, almost like chess a little bit, but they want to push the ball down the field. And the emphasis is definitely on the pass more so than the run because you can move the ball faster. The fan base love it when the ball's up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
It's up for grabs.
Yep.
Okay, so it makes the linebacker like me, who was a hard-hitting thug guy that can clog the holes and knock people around, run to the ball. I mean, I can see myself playing in this defense today, but I wouldn't be as aggressive.
Gotcha.
I think I've been more pass alert, making sure I can count the receivers, make sure I'm in the right position, and you have to be able to make open field tackles. And I was always really good at making open field tackles, so that wouldn't have been an issue for me. But I think the mentality of being nicknamed the Hammer, you know what I mean? I might have never got that nickname if it was in today's era.
I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, and but I do look back at it and say the game have changed, and some people don't like how things change. I'm with change. I'm with change for a lot of reasons because now I'm a fan of the game. So I like the fast pace of the game. I like seeing guys run around. I'm crazy about the big hits when I see them.
Oh, yeah.
Legit hits, okay?
Right, yeah.
All right, so when you see them and you like them, and it reminds me of myself a little bit, and then every now and then you happen to see, like, highlights where you see yourself in a game and they're showing it, and you're in your living room, and you say, wait a minute, wait, I remember this. I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, man, it's boom, you hit somebody, and I look at myself in the mirror and say, wow.
That guy?
It's hard to believe I used to do that.
Right, yeah.
It's hard to believe. And but I loved it, though. You know what I mean? And so the game tapes last a lifetime.
Yeah.
The memories last a lifetime. The love for the game lasts a lifetime. The Falcon, being a former Falcon, to me, a part of the legends, a guy who's in the Ring of Honor, it means a lot to me because this is my home city.
Yeah.
And I can walk around my neighborhood and walk throughout Johns Creek, Georgia, then I drive down to Griffin, Georgia, then I go to Atlanta, Georgia, and the love is right there, and that means a lot.
Yeah. So you were the league leader in tackles 4 times throughout your career? I think it was 4.
Pretty much.
Yeah. We'll say 4. We'll go.
I like that number, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Maybe 4. Maybe we'll go with that.
Okay.
But if you were talking to, let's say, a high school kid who's putting on the pads, ready to go out, like to be an elite tackler, what is the one thing one piece of advice that you'd be like, this is what you need?
That's a good question. And I would say it's the heart. You got to have the desire. Everybody don't want to tackle. Tackling is really sometimes not fun, but you have to want to do it. And I tell all the young guys that some guys are born with elite abilities, but all of us got the fight and the hustle inside of us. It's how you control it, no matter what size you are, no matter if you're 6'5" or 5'11". You got to run to the football. You got to make sure you can run to the football at all costs and don't wait for someone else to make the tackle. You got to go thinking that when I'm running, everybody going to miss the tackle, and I'm going to be the one that make it. And that's the way I play. I was like, you know what? I can't count on nobody. I got to get to the football. And that helped me to make a ton of tackles just because being in the right place at the right time. And I always tell young people that, take advantage of opportunities. You get into a game, have some mental challenges some things you want to do, but also practice hard, because if you practice hard and run to the ball, it comes natural in the game. So, hints like that is really cool, because when you get into the X's and O's and techniques and you're talking to an individual for like 30 or 40 minutes, they're not going to understand all the technical part of it. They're going to learn that as they get older. But the part about the mental part of it, about being mentally ready to go, want to do it, the hustle, that no excuse for hard work, just push yourself mentally will take you where you want to go. And most of all, you have to love this sport. You have to love it. If you love it and you're putting everything into it, you're going to get a lot out of it. If you don't like doing something, you're only going to get just enough out of it that you're trying to achieve. But if you absolutely love it and you want to be great at what you're doing, go out there and give your best effort, play as hard as you possibly can, make no excuses, never give up, never quit, never give in. And I share that story because that's my life. You know what I mean? That's what motivated me and pushed me as a NFL player, and it did it for me when I was in high school, college, throughout the NFL, my career. And now I take those same principles, and as I get older, I share them with obviously my sons and my grandsons, and because it doesn't change.
My dad one time told me that I wouldn't be able to out-athlete a lot of people.
I like that.
But I could outwork and outsmart even more.
Absolutely.
And that is something that even today, like in my career today, that is something I live by.
Absolutely. I mean, it carries right over.
Yeah.
It goes right from the athletic field to the business world.
Yeah.
Because to me, you get out of it what you put into it. And that is the honest God truth there. So I definitely like that saying.
Yeah, but it just reminded me, like, as you were talking, I was like, yeah, like that I feel that. I get that.
Awesome.
So as we're kind of looking at this team right now, this Atlanta Falcons team in 2026, they're coming off of a year in which pass rush was elite, broke a franchise record in sacks. And, Jeff Ulbrich has talked about wanting to see improvements in the run game and stopping the run. What do you kind of see from this defense and the pieces that are in place right now?
You know what? I love what happened over the last couple of years as far as the draft picks they brought in here that can rush the quarterback. Obviously those guys are some young talents.
Yeah.
When I look at the Atlanta Falcons, when you look at the star power and the talent, you look on offense because they're loaded in all the positions. At
you can't talk about this team without talking about Bijan Robinson.
Absolutely,
right? Like,
he is the starter team, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But but then you have Longden, and then you have Pitts, then you have Penix, then you have the guys are young. They are young, but they all got potential to be superstars. Defensively, young, but didn't have that star power. Obviously we had AJ.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jesse Bates. Then we need to bring the young talent outside pass rushers, and they're going to be here for the next hopefully 5 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm looking forward to see what the next young inside linebacker is going to be, who's going to step up and take control and be the quarterback of the defense. And I'm hoping, without even seeing much about him just from college, is I like Perkins a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's a great pick. Super athletic. Mentally, I talked with him. He wanted. We talked about the love for the game. He has the love for the game.
Yeah.
But not only that he has the love for it, he has the talent for it, and he has the speed. So I'm hoping that can translate that into a middle linebacker that can really run to the ball. And but defensively, I like what this organization is really doing. Bringing in some more help on the D-line. There's some big guys out there.
Right.
It's really some big guys out there who can run. That's the biggest difference.
Right.
These guys are 6'6", 300 pounds, and they're running to the football.
Mm-hmm.
So it is good to see that. I think eventually this team has enough star power to be very competitive in the NFC South and hopefully win it.
Yeah. All right, last question for you, because I know I want to get you back out to practice. Right. See the things that you want to see, you know?
Absolutely.
So last question for you. When you think back during your years as an Atlanta Falcon, what is a moment that epitomizes that chapter of your life?
Obviously, we talked about it, in the 1998 season. My goal was to come in each and every year and try to get to be a champion, to win the FC championship, to get to the Super Bowl. And then it became a reality. 1998 was a dream come true for me type of season. And going to Minneapolis to play the Vikings up there when no one in the world thought we had a chance to win, in their atmosphere where they have outscored more points than any NFL team at that time.
Yeah.
And
in the history of the league,
in the
right?
history of the league.
Yeah.
I can remember being at a press conference the day before the Super Bowl, and a reporter asked me, and I was the very last person to ask the question to, was, why do you guys think you can stop the Minnesota Vikings when no one else in the league have stopped them, and they've broken all the records? And I had to think for a quick minute, and I looked at him and said, they're prima donnas. We're going to hit them in the mouth as hard as we can, and then we're going to see how they're going to react. And that was my personality. I'm a hitter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we get up there, and that's what we did. We ran to the ball, and we knocked them around, and we actually beat them. That was the highlight of my life, of my NFL career, because that was the game that actually accelerated me to a goal I've been trying to achieve for 13 years, and finally, got to the Super Bowl. And I think the icing on the cake to me was the very next year, we had a team meeting. And, you lose the Super Bowl down in Miami. And Dan Reeves had come out and he said, you know what, guys, we might have not won the Super Bowl, but we're still the NFC champions. We represent the NFC, and we have rings. But today, I want to give the ring to a person who have put in more hard work and been here the longest. He's a leader of our defense. I want him to be the first one that get the ring. And it was in training camp, and he called me up. He said, Jessie Tuggle, would you please come to the front of the room and get your championship ring? And that meant so much to me because I'd never won a ring before. And 25 years later, I still obviously have the ring, and I love wearing it. I wish I'd wore it today. And it brings back so many memories, and I'm so proud of that season. Not just for myself, for all my teammates. I'm proud for myself, my teammates, my family, and also for all the fans here in Atlanta, because when we got back from the airport, oh my goodness, you won't believe the support that was at the airport after we had won the NFC Championship. It was so late, but it was there, and they was so fired up, and that means a lot. And I'm hoping that atmosphere will come again, because I would love the young coaching staff to experience that, because talking to Stefanski about this whole Falcon, he had called me one day and asked my opinion about things. I said, you know what, we haven't been to the playoffs since the last Super Bowl, said Matt Ryan. Get this team to the Super Bowl, not to the Super Bowl, but get to us to the playoffs. Yeah. The Atlanta fan base is going to absolutely love you. Listen, and they will. They will. They just waiting. They're just hungry. They are so hungry, and so I'm excited for him and the whole young coaching staff as well. So got a lot of good things going over here. I'm glad Matt Ryan is here, back. It's just so much is going on that's new that I'm excited about it. Fan base, you guys should be excited about it, because this is a team that's going to go out and compete. Yeah. This is a team that's going to go out and win. And I'm excited to come and just be a fan and sit there and watch it live. And so it's going to be a good year. I'm excited. Oh,
that was great. I kind of have chills. Thank you so much for sitting down with me for a few minutes and talking to the fans and letting them hear the stories and everything that you think. I want to get you back out to practice. See all the old guys out there, like, ready to.
I love it.
Right? Like, it's kind of like a big old reunion out there right now.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much, Jessie Tuggle. This has been fantastic.
You're more than welcome. Thanks for inviting me over.
I am so excited, Falcons fans, because we are joined by one of the most respected voices in Atlanta sports, Falcons legend Mike Kenn, a former Pro Bowl offensive lineman who spent his entire NFL career in Atlanta. Mike became a franchise cornerstone on the field for 17 years. We're talking Falcons history, the evolution of the franchise, his own career when he was playing here for the Falcons, and kind of seeing what the team and the evolution of the game is like today. So, Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Did you like the preamble? I spent some time on it.
Very good, yeah.
Good.
You're almost like a professional, huh?
You'd think I'd get paid for this, right? I love getting paid to just talk to people for a living. It's the best. Okay, so like what I said, 17 years in this organization. I think that in and of itself is just an accomplishment, just to have 17 years in the NFL. But 17 years specifically with the Falcons, like, what do you feel like led to your longevity in this professional league?
Well, my first 5 years in the league, 78 to 82, we had 3 winning seasons. And then, unfortunately, after the 82 season, we went on an 8-year losing streak, and then finally got back into the playoffs again in 91 when Jerry Glanville was our coach, and we had Deion Sanders too. But,
right, yeah.
I'm very self-competitive.
Yeah.
I was a very tall, very thin high school player. Mm-hmm. I was 6'6.5", and I only weighed 198 pounds.
Long and lanky.
Yeah. And in Michigan gave me a scholarship after 6 weeks after the letter of intent came out. Mm-hmm. And I found out later that they were trying to get this quarterback to sign, and he went someplace else, so they said, give it to that Kenn kid. And then fortunate enough, in my freshman year, I dislocated my left elbow, and so I missed everything. And then went back to the Chicago area where I grew up in. And all of a sudden, my maturity changed. I put on 45 pounds in 3 months through natural means.
Okay.
And
no substances here.
No. And I came back to school for my sophomore year, and walked into the coach's meeting room, and I had a Dago tee on and cut-off jean shorts, and Bo Schembechler sitting at the end of the table, and he always had his glasses. He'd go like this. And he goes, Kenn, what are you doing? Welcome back. You look great. What have you been doing? I go, lifting weights. He goes, yeah, you look great. Well, come back. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I had a really good training camp, and then the fifth-year senior, Stephen King, blew his knee out in the first game. Mm-hmm. So that Sunday, after watching the Saturday game film, he says, all right, Kenn, you're starting next week. And then I broke out in the hives. So I ended up starting for Michigan for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, as you know, I was the 13th pick in the draft in 78. And you know, I was a workout fanatic.
Okay.
I had to work out in order to stay big and stay strong. You know, the heaviest I got into my career was, you know, at the end there, I was 295. But in the early years, I only weighed like 278.
Yeah.
But back then, there was maybe only 2 players in the NFL who were over 300 pounds.
Which is crazy thinking about what we see now.
Yeah. And, you know, at one time in my career, so I'm weighing like 290, 295, and the offensive line coach comes up to me and he says, Mike, you need to put on 10 or 15 pounds. He goes, I go, why? He goes, well, you know, we want 5 300-pound players on the offensive line. You know, it's an optics thing. I go, really? I said, are you unhappy with my play? Oh, hell no. No, you're doing great. I go, well, why do you want to turn me into a fat shit? He goes, oh, never mind.
It was just a thought. I'm just going to throw it out there. Oh, my God. That's hilarious. Well, it's funny that you mentioned kind of like the differences in sizes and everything, because I found a quote, I believe it's from Bill Walsh, and he said that he had never seen an offensive tackle with your agility and quickness.
Yeah.
What do you feel like was the calling card of your game that led to success over the course of almost 2 decades?
I was gifted. I was an athlete.
Yeah.
You know, I just wasn't a big, strong guy. You know, they used to call me the dancer because my feet were so quick.
Yeah.
You know, I ran a 4.67 when they tested me before I got drafted. There's never been an offensive tackle that's run that fast. So I could run and I could move, and I had long arms. But the key to my success from a technical standpoint is that the Michigan offensive line coach, Jerry Hanlon, who just passed away a couple weeks ago, was a technician. And he taught me the basis and the fundamentals of how to play the position. And I took that into the NFL and even evolved it further, because we were primarily a run team at Michigan. We ran an I option, and we only averaged 13 passes a game. You know, here in the NFL, maybe you only run it 13 times a game, you're throwing it the rest of the way. Yeah. So I took it to the next level. And one of the frustrating things, because I know this, you said this, you're going to ask another question, is that when I look at the NFL offensive line play, nobody's teaching it right anymore. Nobody is. And they're making it so much harder for offensive linemen to actually be successful at their job. And it's pervasive throughout, and it's even gotten to college. I don't know what was the genesis of it, but it's disturbing, because my job was to protect the quarterback, you know, and your rating was based on how well you did that. But you know, it's difficult. But the game has changed now. There's so much money in the game now. I mean, it's a lot of money. In fact, just for you know, that CBA that was signed in 1991 has my signature on it.
Does it?
Because I was the president of the NFLPA when we had sued the league in antitrust court up in Minneapolis. So Gene Upshaw and I, he the executive director, and me, the president, are on that CBA, which was basically when the monetary growth for owner and player just went through the roof. So they should be patting me on the back.
Yeah, they should be thanking you, right? Well, it's interesting because you talk about kind of the differences in what offensive line play has even been throughout, you know, your time, because your time is spanning nearly 20 years. So I'm sure that there were some things that evolved in that time period. But how do you see the game and offenses, particularly offensive line play, evolving in where we are now in 2026?
Well, just to go back a little bit, I played in my 17-year career, there were 5 different offensive schemes that I played in.
Yep.
And I excelled at every one of them. You know, I finished with the run and shoot towards the end. And a lot of people used to say that the run and shoot is easy. No, it's not. Actually, it's the hardest one for pass protection that I had to play, because that half roll, you were on your own all the time. There was no help. The game today, it's still from an offense standpoint, it's very sophisticated, but it's a passing game now. It just is. But there's you're throwing, if you got 70 plays in a game, 50 of them are passes. Now, a lot of them are considered more run, a little flat route and thing like that.
Right.
They're expected to complete them 100%. But that's the only difference, because in the beginning we were more run-oriented.
Yeah.
We used to run the Rams offense in the beginning, and then we slowly matriculated. And then there was a time when Dan Henney was here, and we were running the Redskins offense, and which was another whole thing there. But and then we ended with the run and shoot, where I knew it was kind of getting close to retirement when my head coach in '94. Was June Jones. Well, June Jones and I were teammates for 5 years, and now he was my boss.
Yeah.
So, and he asked me to come back for my 18th year, and I actually came to terms with an agreement of money and everything. And I said, it was on a Friday, and I said, all right, June, let me talk to the wife this weekend. And I sat down with my wife, Joni. I said, honey, I says, I'm real fortunate. For as long as I played, I haven't had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
I only missed 5 with this knee, which was not a problem, and only 4 games other than that.
Yeah.
I said, I'd really regret this if I went to go play again just for the money, blow out a hip, blow out a knee, dislocate a shoulder just for the money. I'd be really not happy. I said, now you had to call June up on Monday, and I said, June, I can't. I'm done. But, the thing that gives up on you is not really your body. For me, is mentally I was tired.
Yeah.
To keep yourself at that high level, not only in preparation to play the sport, to play the actual sport, is a very high level mentally to go ahead and make your body do what it needs to do in order to do your job.
Right. Yeah. Especially once you get to, I don't know, year 11, 12, and to put that many miles on the body in terms of starts and games, especially in the trenches, I think it's just commendable. The fact that it was the fact that even at year 18 you're like, I could, but nah.
Yeah, I woke up one year and said, oh, I'm headed into my 12th year. What happened? Then I started thinking, how many more seasons? So really, here what happened is in my 16th year, usually it's a three-phase period postseason. Okay, one, we didn't have OTAs.
Right. Yeah, there was none of that.
No, we had 3-day mini camp. Other than that, you were on your own. Yeah. In the beginning of my career, we didn't have a strength and conditioning coach. Okay,
so wait, what did you do in the off season?
Well, I made myself into a football player.
Right.
So my regime was this. I took a week off after the season. I went back in the gym. So you have the healing period, okay? Then when you recovered from the previous year, then you go and you want to get to a point to where you were prior to the season, and then you go into the third phase. Is it, okay, now I want to take it to another level and improve. So going into my 17th year, I never got to take it to another level.
You're like, there's only so many levels I can get to.
That's it. Okay, so I healed in 2. I got back to where I was prior to the 16th season. I said, well, this could be the last one here. And that's how it kind of occurred. So it's always, for me, it was very planned out. It was calculated.
Yeah.
So
I love that. So I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about the fact that you played. I think that there were 16 different quarterbacks that played for the Falcons, started at least one game during your years. Obviously started with the Steve Barkowski era with you and
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. Can't forget the Brett Favre era in Atlanta.
We had Brett Favre and we had Billy Joe Tolliver on the same team, and we called them Country 1 and Country 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. But no, it's interesting because the Falcons are obviously going through a quarterback competition right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's very fascinating that this offensive line, a lot of them have played a lot of reps together, a lot of snaps together. The core of this offensive line, more than I think hardly any offensive line in all of the NFL, has taken the most reps together. But they've done so with 6 different quarterbacks over the span of maybe 4 or 5 years, if you're talking about Jake Matthews. I want to get your opinion on the 1987 season, which was a year in which there was a lot of turnover at quarterback.
Well, that's also the scab year too, from a strike standpoint.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot going on. What do you remember about that year, and what did it take for that offensive line to play at a certain level despite what was going on in the pocket behind y'all?
Well, people ask me all the time, do you want a quarterback that's a scrambling quarterback or do you want a stationary quarterback? And I said, I want a stationary quarterback. And they go, why? He says, because whether it's a 3-step, 5-step drop or a 7-step drop, he's got to get to that point. Now, we don't have eyes in the back of our head. And the way it is for especially tackles, you got a set that's in phase wherever that quarterback is. It's a shorter set on the 3-step, a little bit deeper on the 5-step, and deeper on the 7-step drop. And so I want a stationary quarterback. The worst thing that can happen to an offensive lineman, since we don't have eyes in the back of our head, why hasn't the ball been thrown yet?
Right, yeah. It's like, get the ball out.
Okay, did the receiver break a route? Did he not see him? So you don't know what happens until the next day when you watch the film and go, now I know why that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I always feel bad, like, going up to Jake Matthews after a game and being like, hey, what happened? Like, I've gotten to the point now, you only make this mistake once or twice, but, like, asking him what happened in a certain play, and he's like, I don't know. I was blocking the guy in front of me.
I was doing my job.
Right, yeah. No, it's so funny. I want to get you back, because I know there are a bunch of legends here, and want to get...
Only one Ring of Honor guy, I think. I'm the only one here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating. Well, congrats on being the Ring of Honor guy here.
Other than Matt Ryan, so
that's true. Matt Ryan
he
is
works
here
now, though.
Yeah, he's paid to be here, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's
I
not
know.
part of his
We
job.
didn't play together, but we're good friends. So.
Good. What do you think about Matt being in this president of football role?
You know what? I think it was a great hire.
Mm-hmm.
He was. When Matt was the quarterback for the Falcons, he was the only reason why they were competitive on offense. That's how good a quarterback he was.
Yeah.
He
really was.
He really was.
Yeah.
I mean, if Matt Ryan wasn't there, we wouldn't have had winning seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how good he was. Very competitive, knows the game, knows the mentality. So, president of football operations, you couldn't hire a better guy. Yeah. So just like any other hire, I'm optimistic but cautiously optimistic that he's going to do a good job. But he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. I'll get you out of here. This is something I'm asking everyone who comes in the podcast studio today. When you think back on your time playing in a Falcons jersey, what is a moment that epitomizes that chapter of your life?
Well,
the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever comes to mind.
When we were 12-4 in 1980, playing the Dallas Cowboys in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, we had them on the run, and we had crossed the 50-yard line, and Steve Barkowski was the quarterback. William Andrews was our running back. And all we needed to do, we had 3 yards to go to make a first down, and we could have ran the clock out and win the game. And so in my peripheral vision, I can see Ed Too Tall Jones, who's 6'9", karaokeing down the line of scrimmage. And we didn't have, the quarterback didn't have permission to ask for the ball early. Certain coaches say no, or, didn't give him discretion to do that. So the ball snaps, and it was a 0-1 play that we always ran. It really worked against everyone who did it. But so William got the ball and ran, and there was no one there to block Too Tall Jones. But I went, he's offside. So I said, that's first down. Game's over. They didn't call it. And when you look at the film, he's 6'9". Half of his body was in the neutral zone.
You're like, you can't miss this. This guy he's called Too Tall Jones for a reason. Like,
and we would have ended up playing Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game, and we had owned their ass every time we played them.
Yeah.
We would have won that game. We'd have been in the Super Bowl. So that unfortunately the best season we ever had, but with the heartbreak at the end, that was just the side judge didn't call it.
It's the game played in the margins, It's one moment here, one moment there. That's what makes this game so special.
Hey, I was on the competition committee for 8 years as president, so I used to be sitting down with all those referees and everything like that.
I bet you brought this up frequently.
Well, yeah.
You're not wrong.
I was doing one-arm rips with Tom Landry in Maui. You know, I got a lot of stories.
So many stories. We'll have to have you back. This has been really fun, and I want to thank you for sitting down with us and taking some time to go through the eras and everything. But I hope you have a great day out at practice, seeing some old faces. But thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Yeah, a lot of my teammates here, but since my career spanned 3 decades, there are a lot of teammates of mine.
I love it.
They're all good guys too.
Of course, yeah.
We had a few jerks here and there, but mostly they're all good guys.
I love it. All right, well, thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome.
He started every game he played from 2007 to 2014. Justin Blalock is with us. Thank you so much for joining us in the podcast studio. The crowd goes wild. You were a cornerstone of Atlanta's offensive line for nearly a decade. You helped pave the way for some of the best offenses that the Falcons had, and you were such a key part of multiple playoff runs for this organization. I want to talk about life in the trenches and some of those great Falcons years and kind of what you've been up to since retirement. But Justin, thank you so much for joining me and welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Great. Okay, so let's go back to your rookie year, 2007. You come in bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to get to work in the Atlanta trenches. What do you remember about that year, and kind of what were some early lessons that you learned as a rookie?
To be perfectly honest, I tried not to remember most of that year. Still gives me like some mild PTSD when I do think about it. I think the first thing I think of was, well, frankly, how miserable I was most of the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
I still talk to a few of the guys. Yeah. And one of the things that they always ribbed me about was, I remember after practice one day we saw you walking back, to the dorms. The rookies stayed in dorms during training camp or whatever. And I just looked at my buddy and I said, "Man, that's a miserable dude right there." And obviously there was a lot going on. Yeah. Big transition. I was switching positions. Right. A lot of things were going on. New coaching style that I might not have been used to, and rookie position coaches. So I'd learn one thing in our meetings. We'd walk out, and some of the vets were like, "Hey, don't do that."
And you're like, "Oh no, oh no."
Like, I'm kind of stuck here now. Yeah. So a lot of learning on the fly. Yeah. Obviously, not much success that first year. It's well documented, like how bad the team was. Maybe not so well documented, like how dysfunctional things were behind the scenes. Right, yeah. But I'm sure little by little it's got out. Yeah. But I remember a lot of times thinking, like, I don't think I'm cut out for this. If this is what the NFL's like, I'm not going to be here very long. Yeah. So it was kind of a blessing for me. When we changed regime mid-season.
Yeah, right, yeah. At what point did you feel like, having that thought of, I don't know if this is for me, at what point did that change? At what point were you like, actually, no, I have my feet under me and I feel good about this?
Definitely not the rest of that year.
Right, yeah. We're just moving on by 2007, right?
When Coach Thomas, took over towards the end, I got benched like the week before Coach Petrino left. So he brought me in the office. He's like, "Hey, organization still believes in you." So I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." That was a great validation, I guess. Yeah. So I don't, go stand in the middle of 985 on the way home. So that, that was reassuring at the time. Right. And then going into the following year, bring in Smitty, obviously, and a lot of things changed.
A lot did.
So I guess once we, got on the field, and started having success there, I was like, okay, this is kind of what I'm used to. Right. Things are going well. This is like a well-oiled machine. like I've been in since I was in, the 10th grade.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I know this. I'm comfortable with this.
This is how football works.
Yeah. What was so taking that transition from 07 to 08 and the changes that were kind of being made around you, what were kind of some of the main points that you took from that like experience going from 2007, where I talked to Michael Turner and he was like, there were some guys in that locker room that it was wearing thin on them what all they had gone through in 07 and came in 08 with a pretty big chip on their shoulders, the guys who were returning. What do you remember about that time and maybe going into that year with that mentality?
Oh, goodness. I'm so thankful that I wasn't a veteran that year. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine like how they must have been feeling to have been on, been around the league, guys that were on different teams and such, or even just in Atlanta for a long time, to see like how drastic things had changed that one year. But going into it, I mean, it was clear from the jump that, Smitty was going to be night and day.
Right.
Like this was going to be, strictly professional.
Yeah.
Everything by the book.
He knew how to run the ship.
But also a good time.
Yeah.
Like he was genuinely interested in like making it as enjoyable as, running into a wall can be.
Over and over again.
Yeah. So I mean, he was really committed to, we're going to work hard, sure, because we want to be good, but we're going to enjoy ourselves while we do it. So that was evident from the get-go. Even interacting, with Mr. Blank.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was just as upset with that
of
year
course,
as
anyone.
Hell, he had to pay for it.
Exactly, true, yeah.
I was getting paid to do it.
Right, he had a different type of investment in it. Yeah.
I could only get so mad. Like I'm shelling all this money and getting this in return. But even it really, from the top down, it was evident that things were going to change. Bringing in, that class, the draft class, I should say, Matt, Sam, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure they had a lot on their shoulders, a lot of expectations. So obviously it paid off in spades. Yeah. So I can't imagine what it must have felt like for those guys to come in like, man, this town is just itching for an inkling of success and professionalism.
Yeah, and hope. Like hope in
just
what
give us
you're building.
Something.
Yeah.
Anything at this point. So it felt great, to see it, manifest itself on the field.
Yeah.
Going out here and practicing and, talking up a good game. Everyone does that.
Yeah.
But when we came out and like, okay, this has a chance to work. This is what, the guys are used to. This is what, if you're going to be up here all the time.
You want to enjoy coming up here.
Yeah. And nothing makes it worth it like winning.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, and y'all did a lot of that in that 2008 season. You talk about that draft class coming in and obviously Matt Ryan being kind of the guy coming in and what you're talking about, the expectations. I've talked a lot with him about the weight of expectations he felt in and of himself coming in, after everything that happened before he had even got there and having to carry that weight. And he talked so much about how the fact that y'all had such an elite run game very early on in his career really propelled him forward to have the longevity that he felt like he had in his career. Why do you think that y'all were so dominant in that 2008 season running the ball?
We had some horses.
Right, yeah.
I mean, any rookie quarterback or young quarterback for that matter is going to benefit tremendously by having the ability to turn around and hand it off 30 times in a game. First of all, we were committed to the run game. And we knew we had to bring this kid along.
Yeah.
I say kid, he's a grown man.
Yeah, but he'd probably say the same thing. He did, like he was like, this was so important that we had that run game early on.
The last thing anybody wants is, a rookie quarterback to come in and be slinging it all over the yard. Historically, that tends not to work very well. Even with guys that ended up being great players, they take their lumps at the beginning. Troy Aikman, Peyton Manning, you name it.
Right.
All these guys had crappy early on, back then the quarterbacks called their own plays, and it's a different league.
Right,
but historically, these guys aren't having a ton of success unless they can turn around and hand it off and be confident that, you're going to be in 3rd and 3s.
You're going to move the chains. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you have that, it takes a lot of pressure off you. I don't have to sit back here and, be in empty sets all game, looking around, where's the blitz coming from?
Yeah.
It's easy. Just, here you go, Mike.
Go pick up 4 or 5 yards for
Do your
us.
thing.
Yeah.
We'll try again on the next first down.
So when Matt comes in and, he's a rookie and, I'm sure he was feeling the pressure, but also kind of like hopeful for the future. What was a moment maybe that you remember early on in his career where you saw like, wait a minute, this guy could be a franchise quarterback?
I'm sure most of the guys will say like the shut the F up in the huddle was like an early indicator, like, oh man, okay, this kid means business.
Yeah.
I think just seeing the way like he composed himself and the dedication he had to his craft. He was always working on it. Staying with receivers. Hey, let's get these throws in. And the way that guys, gravitated towards him.
Yeah.
Because they see, the kid wants to be great. And I can be a part of that. And in turn, hey, I'm going to get some more balls thrown my way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Seeing the rising tide floats all ships. So I loved seeing that, the way he would command the huddle, would talk to his guys, us.
Yeah. You're like, that was me.
But it was evident that, while he, understood he was a younger guy, he also, knew the role of quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take mess. I'm going to, stand up and fight for you guys. But, I also expect you to do the same for me. So we were all in the thing together.
Yeah.
I hope he could feel that, we were trying to support him as best we could. And, make things as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Because, we didn't know he was going to turn into what he did.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, it's good, but damn.
Right, yeah. You're like, oh man, in another 6 years, he's going to be the league MVP. Yeah, it is. It's interesting. Like, what do you think? You talk about him commanding the huddle and kind of being a leader even early on. What are maybe some attributes that you saw then that maybe can even propel him into the position of president of football right now? And what is it like if you were playing and you had a guy who was a franchise guy as the president of football? Like, what do you think that would have meant to you?
I think being able to be yourself on and off the field, but also have that same magnetic quality when you're away from the game. So we're after the games, he's back in the back of the bus, all the boys, we're just back there having a good time, talking about the game. Chopping it up, whatever the case may be, and obviously as a quarterback, you have to evaluate and delegate a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of leadership qualities there that are going to translate into, running an organization, just now you don't have to throw the ball anymore.
True.
But, I still have to have a vision for the organization, where it's going to go. And even back then as a quarterback, you're having way more meetings than we did.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're up here, talking with front office, talking with how the nuts and bolts of how the sausage is made. So you really understand that even from early on, interacting with head coaches, interacting with GMs, owners. So having that experience that. I get to go home.
You're like, I'm good. I'm out.
I don't need
you're like,
to know
I'll see you tomorrow.
what happens back here. So, just being in those rooms, having those experiences, but also being a really heady guy. BC's not Texas, but it's a pretty good degree.
Yeah.
So, a smart guy is able to figure a lot of stuff out. And it was, evident early on. He was about his business.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, was going to have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
Just like Smitty, we had our fun, but, don't miss a block.
Right, yeah. You're here to work. Yeah. That's great. I'm glad you also brought up Texas. Wanted to ask you about a Texas Longhorn, proud Texas Longhorn, Mr. Bijan Robinson. And he's coming off one of the best years of any running back, any player in the league's history. I think he was 12th overall in the scrimmage yards from scrimmage this past year. If you're a lineman blocking for somebody who has the skill set of Bijan, and you block for somebody who was great in and of his own right in Michael Turner, but when you watch Bijan Robinson play, and I'm sure you saw him in college too, like, what do you think of and what impresses you about him?
Man, I haven't seen many guys like that. I blocked for some really impressive dudes.
Yeah.
Obviously Mike, work done. Going back to college, Jamal Charles, Cedric Benson. Played with a lot of really good running backs.
Really great, yeah.
He's a different cat.
Yeah.
A different skill set for the modern game, I would say. Growing up in Texas, we're, 4 yards in a cloud of dust. Heck, we ran triple option in high school.
There you go.
So I got to college, I was like, what is this throwing the ball thing?
Yeah, you're like, what do you mean pass pro?
We're supposed to go forward.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't lift all these weights so I can go backwards.
Yeah, what do you mean I'm going backwards?
But the way he's able to BYO offense, basically.
Yeah.
I hand it to you. I fake it to you. You go over there, I throw it to you. Or, sometimes he's a decoy. Doesn't seem like there's much he can't do.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure he's been caught from behind, which is a great skill to have. I played with a couple of guys like that I never saw, get walked down. Jamal Charles, Vince Young. Seemed like no matter what the clock said, no one was going to catch the guys.
Yeah.
And he's kind of the same way. And can do some really interesting things to contort his body and get out of some sticky situations. Growing up, huge Barry Sanders fan.
Oh, yeah.
It was him and Emmitt Smith as a kid for me. And seeing some of these predicaments he gets out of, I'm like,
that shouldn't be possible.
I'm sure you're not even thinking about getting out of this tackle.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
You work hard at it.
Right, of course, but kind of there's also this thought of like innate ability that you're not thinking, you're just doing. Your body just does it.
It's like the flexibility of a toddler.
Yeah.
So like be in all these weird positions and never get hurt, or like a drunk person or something. What is happening here? I don't understand this. The physics don't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we got him.
Yeah. It's better to be here than anywhere else, right?
Yeah. I'm glad I don't have to tackle him. But it would be. I imagine it's a great load off these guys' shoulders, blocking for him. Hey, sometimes I make my block, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
And he's gonna make me right.
Yeah. He's gonna make me look good. That's all I care about.
Like he could just outrun the guy if I don't block him.
That's great. Well, I want to make sure I'm conscious of your time. Last question I have for you, and this is something I've been asking everyone. When you think back over your time in a Falcons uniform, what is a moment that you feel like epitomizes that chapter of your life?
Ooh.
Big question, I know.
So I scored one touchdown while I was here. Oh man, this is getting bad. I can't even remember the year. I'm pretty old now.
I think it was your third year, maybe.
It was early on.
It was early on, yeah.
I think we were. Matter of fact, the game might have sealed a playoff berth for us.
I think it was a big moment. I do
because it was kind
remember.
of important.
Yeah,
it was an important game.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Something I've been a lineman my whole life. Back home, we had like weight restrictions on who could carry the ball. So I never scored a point in my whole life until I got to the NFL. Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool. Get into the conference championship. Was a big highlight, obviously.
Yeah.
Of course, didn't end up going our way.
Right.
But that as close as I got at this level, to the big one. Mm-hmm. That was pretty great.
Okay, I think I found it. It was year 2, I believe, at Minnesota.
Yeah, it was definitely at Minnesota.
Yeah, at Minnesota in week 15, I believe. No, week 16.
I was going to say, I feel like it was
week 16.
We needed the game.
Yeah, and that was when y'all won 24-17.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, we needed it.
Yeah.
So I kind of got some... So, I mean, the things that happened in that scrum, I don't want to talk about.
Right, yeah.
There's, like, FCC regulations probably that, I don't want to get you guys fined or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, so many great things. This goes back to the very first year. One good thing I can remember, sitting at lunch all by myself, new guy.
Yeah.
Who the hell's this kid? Mike Vick comes and sits next to me and starts chopping it up. Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is Mike Vick. Oh, my God.
If cell phones were like a big thing, I'd call all my buddies right now.
Right, yeah.
Hey, man, say hi to my friend. Another really cool moment. I mean, I guess the best thing about this job are experiences like that.
Yeah.
The game's great. Mm-hmm. Practice sucks no matter
right,
what level
hot.
you're at.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like any other job.
It's a grind.
Do I want to, bang out this 1,300 word op-ed, by midnight tonight? No, of course I don't.
Yeah.
But, we all got a mortgage.
Exactly. Got to pay those bills.
But things like that, make all the meetings about other meetings to discuss the last meeting worth it.
Yeah.
And the friendships, I still talk to, Mud Duck, Claybo, all these guys to this day. So seeing, Matt ascend to this role, feel like a proud papa.
Yeah.
Even though I'm just a year older.
He's the kid. You're like, I'm the experienced adult here.
He'll always be a kid.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I'll let you get back out to practice, but I loved this conversation and thank you just for coming and chatting with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
A huge thank you to all of those guys, Jessie, Mike, Justin, for taking the time to sit down with us in the podcast studio and share a little bit of time and chat some Falcons football. So really hope you enjoyed those conversations. It's always a blast to get to catch up with a lot of Falcons from years past. But now let's find out about a team in the Falcons' future. Here is Know Your Foe, Chicago Bears edition. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Chicago Bears, shall we? The Chicago Bears were 11-6 in 2025. They won the NFC North for the first time since the 2018 season. And honestly, it was an exciting one for Chicago. Not only did they have, I think, more fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives than any team in the league, it kind of fulfilled the promise of Ben Johnson as head coach, right? The hottest coordinator in kind of the coaching cycle for the last few years. He came out of the gates swinging. Caleb Williams took a huge step forward. They got to the postseason again. They beat the Packers in the wild card round in just like insane fashion. They beat the Packers. I did this on the Know Your Foe a couple of episodes ago, so get the exact numbers there. But they destroyed the Packers in the fourth quarter in the 3 times that they played them in like kind of the worst possible way if you're a Packers fan, to have one of your biggest rivals just kind of rip your heart out 3 different times. So from a Bears perspective, they were really riding high in Ben Johnson's first year. They had the 9th best scoring offense in the league. They turned the ball over less than anybody else. They turned opponents over more than anybody else, which gives them the best point differential. And I mentioned those fourth quarter games. That's why that was so key, because it allowed the Bears to stay in a lot of these games and this is a group that showed they could kind of get red hot in these bursts as well as anybody. We think back to Ben Johnson and those Lions teams that could have games where they put up like 44 points just in the blink of an eye. That's kind of what the Bears showed at times. And I mentioned Caleb Williams led all quarterbacks with 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. Like, this is a player who, in year one, former first-round pick, we're wondering, all right, like, what does he need to fix to get this trajectory back on track? He's being compared to Patrick Mahomes, but the result in year one didn't kind of align with that type of projection. And now after year two, he is the Madden cover athlete. I've made my feelings known about that. I think Bijan is the most video game-like character in real life. He's probably the most fun player to play in the actual game. I think he should have been on the cover, but it's a big testament to what Caleb Williams was able to do in year one. Defensively, Kevin Byard was a huge standout at safety and led the NFL with 7 interceptions. Montez Sweat, 10 sacks. Tremaine Edmonds has been a really good linebacker throughout his career. He led the team with 112 tackles. And then Nashawn Wright had 5 interceptions at cornerback for them as well. So mention kind of like the narrative about this team has continued on into the offseason. Everybody's excited in Chicago, and they should be for really good reason. Now, the division, the NFC North, very, very tough. So I'm curious to see if this is going to be repeatable or if we're going to get kind of like what the NFC West has become and just like any team, any given year, whether it's the Lions or the Packers or the Bears, the Vikings too, like it's a stacked division. And so for all they accomplished in year one, there's been a lot of changes so far this offseason for the Bears. Let's get into a couple of them because that is going to factor into the narrative as well. They lost wide receiver DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmonds, who I just mentioned, Kevin Byard, who I just mentioned, led the NFL with 7 interceptions last year, Nashawn Wright, cornerback, 5 interceptions. So right there, that's 12 picks, kind of just off your team. Tremaine Edmonds had 4, so 16 of those interceptions for this defense. That's huge. Then offensively, Drew Dahlman, former Falcon, retired this offseason. So those are some big names, big pieces that are no longer on the Bears roster. What did they bring in? They replaced Drew Dahlman with center Garrett Bradbury, who is one of the best in the league, and he was kind of their primary free agent target. They got Khalif Raymond, former Detroit Lion, now back with Ben Johnson, so I imagine there's a clear vision and reason for that. Devin Bush at linebacker. I don't know if he's a true replacement for Tremaine Edmonds. They're kind of different body types, but not a bad player at all. And then their draft. Safety Dylan Thieneman to replace not only Kevin Byard, but they lost Jaquan Brisker as well, so kind of a hole at safety there. And then center Logan Jones, probably the center of the future behind Garrett Bradbury and depth. But again, you kind of look at the departures and the additions, it feels like the departures maybe tip the scales a little bit there. So what does this all mean maybe for the season when the Falcons and the Bears ultimately meet? At this point, so much is going to change. I'm not even going to say could. Like, it just will. This is the NFL. There's so much that is left to happen that it's almost pointless to do a true, like, hey, here's everything. But I think we know that the Bears under Ben Johnson are going to like to throw the football. Caleb Williams had the 5th most attempts in the league last season. And again, that was coming off of a year one where a lot of people were like, all right, who is he going to be in the NFL? That speaks volumes about what Ben Johnson wants to do. They set their defense up to take the ball away, giving it back to their offense to put more points on the board. And I mentioned that they can get red hot in spurts. That, to me, is going to be kind of the key here for Atlanta. As a time possession game, I think that they have the ability offensively, certainly, to kind of match if you're the Bears. Like, the Falcons can get as red hot on offenses as anybody else as well. So this could be a kind of high stakes, high scoring at times game where it really does truly come down to kind of that one possession end of the game scenario, which a lot of the games in this league do. The Bears games last year, more often than not, did. And I think it's kind of shaping up to be that way again this season for Chicago. A lot of close games, probably a lot of exciting games because they've really got a lot of reasons for optimism. But we'll see what that means when the Falcons and the Bears meet later this season. So that was Know Your Foe. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Next week, we will be back with a little bit of Falcons trivia. It's going to be fun. Hope you got your thinking caps on, and we will see you then. I'm Will McFadden for Tori McElhaney. We'll see you next time.